Hey y'all, hey, we are back. Welcome to Lunch Chat.
Hey, Lissha.
T.
Can you hear me?
Nope, T, I need you to go out and come back in. Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to the chat room. How y'all doing? We trying to get situated before Mr. Prophet comes up in here. I'm gonna have to get production up here to help my lighting a little bit. Hey y'all, hey. All right, see.
Now, is that
Hey,
better?
yes, ma'am. Yes, we are back. We are back. Welcome to Let's Chat. I'm Miss Lissha for all y'all that are just tuning in. And this is my right hand. And most of the time, she is my left, the fabulous Miss Toni.
Hey, Leash.
Hey, T. Hey.
We had a great segment last time. The ladies were awesome, Leash.
Yes, we always have a good time here on Let's Chat. We always have a good time. We waiting for, we got about 10 minutes. Our next guest is going to come flying in here. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Y'all know that we always talk a little bit before we have a guest on. So we're going to talk a little bit about the publishing industry. So I read something. I don't know where I read it, but I posted a question the other day. And you know, we always have our Let's Chat moments. And Saeed Salam actually commented on it. And I want to just talk about that a little bit today. And shout out to Sean St. Clair because he's, you know, I want to say a lot of times they don't talk about the business of books enough. The business side of books. They don't talk about it enough. It's not something that is spoke about enough. And the literary industry, I'm not going to say it is strange. I'm going to say it's changing right now. And we absolutely have to have these conversations to make sure that everybody understands the business side of the book game. So shout out to Sean St. Clair. He did a fabulous live the other day. And October the 8th, we're going to have a really, really big show. Like, literally, we're going to talk about the state of literature. We're going to talk about the state of Black literature. We're going to take it all the way back and bring it all the way forward. So I'm excited with some of the guests that we have that are just going to be here gracing our show with their presence.
But you know, Lish, sometimes you have to go back in order to move forward. And a lot of people that are here today may not necessarily know the backstory. You know, there's always a backstory, and it's good to bring it to the forefront sometimes. But you know, Leash, as far as the business aspect,
Toni.
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
I thought I was turning my mic off. Sorry.
But as far as the business aspect of literature, a lot of people are not familiar that there is even a business part of it. You know, some people think they just get in, write a book, and it's done. But there's so much more.
I need you.
You okay, Leash?
Yeah, I had to get production up here. I got to get production up here. I need production to help me do some things.
Okay, but you know, sometimes they don't understand or even know of the business part of literature. So that's going to be a powerful show. I'm going to have my pen and paper ready, you know, and especially for our younger authors to learn from our seasoned authors. I love when we have the combination of the two. You know, you get to hear both sides and you get to feel what it is that they bring and why they're in this industry.
Hey, Cream!
Hey,
Cream Man in the building. Shout out to Cream. Shout out to Blue Marley. Y'all know we appreciate y'all always thinking of the ladies of Let's Chat. Y'all putting out some great music. We are excited for y'all.
Yeah, you better get that tag. Check out our archives, our radio archives, Leash. That was a great show.
It was. Y'all got to get that tag on. But and you're so right, T, because the question I posed the other day is, do you think the publishing industry is in rough times, or is it adjusting to the pivot it needs to make an evolution? I think that if we think about it, you know, like you said, it just depends on the state and the position that person is in. But if you think about it, the publishing industry has survived the Great Depression. It has been around for centuries, you know, years. And so, but it has learned how to pivot throughout the times. I think that the people have a hard time because they have to learn a new way. So what Saeed Salam said was, It is constantly evolving and will continue to do so. Authors and publishers must adapt to the challenge, be diligent, and stay ahead of the curve. This is why you see some authors are no longer relevant, complaining about how they used to do with paperbacks. The market evolved, and some haven't been heard from since. Listen, ouch, but that's the truth.
We keep getting these comments about our house.
You like our background? We like it too. We gotta get you in. We gotta get you and Blue up in here on our live show,
yes.
so we can just kick up some dust and have a good time.
And that's exactly what we got to do. Kick up some dust with those two guys.
Absolutely. So, Cream, what it is, now Jay Pesos is fabulous. Just not just a rapper, but he is I'm gonna say manager, producer. I mean, he doing it good over there with his artists, and so we are so super proud of him. Yes. Shout out to the new album. Shout out to you and Blue's new endeavors. I know it's going to be good. Hey, Ray. Hey, Johnny B. So, well, I'm glad we got a few authors on here. I want to ask y'all, do you think the publishing industry is in rough times? Or do you think it's adjusting to the pivot that's needed for it to evolve? What do y'all think? Ray and JB, since y'all ain't here, what do y'all think about the state of publishing right now? We'll wait for y'all to post so that we can read y'all messages out. But that was so true. What Saeed Salam sounded off and said, I think you were right too, T. It really depends on the person's position, because the article I read was the publishing industry was in hard times. And I'm like, well, I don't see it as being in hard times, because book deals are going like this, especially across the pond.
Right.
You know, that's on true. Our end, it's a little bit slow. You know, it's getting better, I will say. But across the pond in the UK, they're doing those book deals. So the industry has not shut down. It has had to learn how to pivot in this industry. It had to learn during 9/11. It had to learn during the Great Depression. It has had to learn, like JB says, she thinks it is adjusting. Absolutely, it is adjusting to the new times. You have a lot of publishers that are not used to Zooms and StreamYards and learning how to move in this new environment. And they are. And this is some of the bigger publishing companies, because they're not used to being, they're used to having so many hands on deck. Everybody does this. Now you have to have people that do this, people that are able to do this. And so it's a little bit different for them.
You know something, Lissha? I'm sitting here and I see JB says it's adjusting as well as what you're sharing. I also think where you are in this business is where you pick up from. Like our younger authors, they see the industry different than our seasoned authors. They see it, they feel it, they move around differently than our seasoned authors. So you have a combination, like we have on our shows, the combination of newbies as well as seasons. And they may approach their marketing, the way they interact with their readers. All of that is the adjustment that literature is going through, I believe.
Absolutely. And Ray says it depends on the person / the publishing, really. I've seen a lot of people really step up their promotions and find new ways and exciting ways to share their work. Absolutely. I think that this whole situation has really caused people to be more creative and more innovative.
Right.
Especially authors. They found different ways to touch and interact with their readers. I mean, those that have reading groups, them groups is jumping. They dropping books, but it's the interaction is key. As long as you are interacting with your readers, they're engaged. But if you're not interacting with them, they become disengaged. And that's so true. And she said, JB said, it also depends on your position and if you understand a good company, and if you're under a good company, or if you're doing your own business. Good. That's right. Absolutely. You have to learn the business of books. You have to understand how to move and get things going. And you also have to pay attention. And you have to not just look at what other people are doing, but you got to kind of look at what other people are doing. And I don't mean new authors. I mean, you watch how some of these seasoned authors are stepping up to move around in the industry to something new.
Right.
You know, you'll see more lives, people reading their books. You see story times, especially the libraries are doing story times. So if you're a children's author and you are looking for ways to get yourself out there, you got a new book, check out your local library. They're doing story times on their social media now. You have teachers that need kids to come into as readers. I mean, authors to come into their classrooms and do readings to their book, to their readings to their classes. So you have to look at all of those angles and really, really work to get yourself out there.
That's so true. And you know something, Leash? The seasoned authors, I see them first and foremost as the authors that used to get out and hustle their paperbacks. You know, they had that book hustle down to a T. So they already had that mentality that I got to get my works into the hands of the readers. So they have that hustle mentality. So they're going to find a way to touch their readers and bring in new readers, you know? And I love seeing the innovation that has come out of COVID-19 as a result. You know, oh, wow, they thought, I never think that would work. Oh, look, they're doing their thing. So I love the diversity and the challenge that these authors and publishers have stepped up to. Yeah. And I think it just opens up the realm of literature more during this COVID that we've seen.
I definitely agree. It has. It's opened up a whole, I think it's caused people to pay attention in more ways than one. But absolutely in literature in the publishing industry, it has caused people to pay attention and move intentionally. You know, when you're making moves and you're just doing stuff just to be doing it, but you have to make sure you're moving with intention. Like, why are you doing it in this way? Why are you doing it in this way? I'm in a few reading groups and they are jumping. So the readers are still reading. You know, it's the way you're interacting in this season. And you have some really seasoned authors that they know what it is.
Right.
They already have the ear of their readers. They have the mind of their readers. And so they've taken it to a whole nother direction. Also a way for you to boost your website. Force people to you. Your book's got to have a home. Did you start to a website? Do you have a home for your work?
Yeah, claim it. You know, you do all that work, make it work for you instead of giving it away. You know, a lot of people don't realize the power that they have. Those, first of all, like we always say, words are powerful. Make those words work for you because you work so hard to put those words into a book. And don't just have your material on Amazon. Create that website. You know, always carry those books with you.
And, you know, we say this all the time. Amazon is not the end all be all, people. It is not the end all be all. You have to start knowing that that's just a tool that's used to get you where you want to go. There's digital to digital. There's Ingram Sparks. You want to know which each one does. What is the benefits? Start looking to see how you can expand. Do you have an ISBN? Are you using Amazon's ISBN? Do you know Amazon's ISBN is just for Amazon? I mean, you want your books to move, you have to position yourself. You have to position your brand, and you have to position your books as well. You can't have your books in a position where they can't move, but you can.
Right. And therein lies the necessity as well as the beauty of knowing that books are a business. You know, you have to know all of these aspects of the other side of just writing your book. You know, there's so much more to just write your book, because the real work starts once that book has been finished being written.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of writing, T, you have something exciting coming down the pike this week. Tell us about it. Tell us about it. Y'all know T is the editor. I always say she got that hardcore red pen. You remember that one teacher at elementary school? You know, you was like, boom, you was going in. You had your chips, you had your cookies, you was writing that paper. You just knew you was gonna be on it. And then you turn your paper in, boom, you all proud. You just smash it down on her desk. And you get that mug back and it's got nothing but red marks in it. That's Miss Toni.
Yes, Lissha, thank you so much. I have been invited to give an editing session tomorrow from 1:30 to 3 p.m. by the one and only Joylyn M. Ross. She has her annual Path to Publishing conference in Las Vegas. But since I'm here in New York and everything that's going on, my session will be virtually. I have been stressing. I know I'm driving Lissha crazy with it. First of all, I'm coming out of my comfort zone. This is the first time I'm gonna be presenting. I've been doing this for so many years, and I'm an award-winning editor. You know, so I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Joylyn is dragging me. Y'all see my drag marks back here? She's dragging me. James is one of my clients. He has a beautiful book out. Thank you, James. That red pen. He knows, Lissha. See, he has almost 3,000 books by himself. But I'm going to be presenting tomorrow at 1:30. I can't wait until 3:31 when I'm all done. And I can I can decompress, but I'm excited, Lissha. You know, once I get going, I get in my element and I'll just be me. And I think that's going to help me, you know, get through this. I won't have Lissha on my side. You got this, T. You got this. She'll be in my head, though.
I'm going to text you. I'm like, you got it, T. You got it.
So
yeah, but I think that once she starts flowing, she's going to be fabulous, y'all. As an editor, she is a very good teacher, you know, and the best part about her editing is she takes it from both sides, not just the reader side, but she takes it from the writer side as well. So she knows as a reader, she needs to read and get into your book and get introduced to your pen. And then from the editing side, if something ain't right, she going to tell you.
James knows.
She will tell you in a minute. I'm gonna need you to pass me that exclamation mark. I'm gonna need you to pass me that semicolon and colon key. I'm gonna need you to just pass them here, so you just never have to use them again.
That's right. Just send it to me, because you won't be no return receipt required.
I love it.
But I'm excited, Lissha. And it's just preparing me, Lissha. You know, this is preparing me for your event in 2021. Because, you know, I thought I had like at least 2 years to get my guard up. But I've been thrust into the mix. So I'm going to be straight.
Absolutely. April 2nd, 2022, we'll have our next Vision in Books. I didn't do it this year. Just too much going on. I did it in February, but I didn't do one for next year, 2021. It's too much going on. And those that participated in Vision in Books, y'all so rock. But, you know, my goal is to be able to help families. And so by helping the families, I help the teachers. Because, you know, that list that the teachers give us, shout out to LaDonna Jordan. Yes, we know she is a teacher, but that list y'all be sending us, sis, listen, that's like stressful. That's like tax time. When school starts, that's tax time. It's like, Lord, I need this color coded over here, and I need you to do this, and this need to be here and over here, and they need crayons for this, but they need color pencils for this. Listen, parents be crazy, because it was like, what happened to the time where all I had to get them was a new backpack, a new lunchbox, 16 crayons, right, and that's it.
Those days are long gone, girl.
Yes, long gone. So I did that, and I didn't want to do a book bag drive because everybody does that, and it just seems like the list gets bigger and bigger. So that ain't helping.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, let's help the teachers. So
Mm-hmm.
for Vision of Books, what we do is we pick a teacher. We pick a teacher and we bless that teacher because everybody doesn't know that list that you get at the beginning of the year is a re-up offer. Yes, honey, you didn't know? That's a re-up offer.
That's right.
You need to do that in September, in December, in March. Like, you need to constantly
Throughout the year.
supply the classroom. And a lot of parents, if they have 3 or 4 kids, 2 kids, it gets expensive. And so we blessed the teacher. We blessed this past year. We blessed the teacher. She had copy paper. Pencils. She had books for her school, her classroom library. She had books that the kids could take home, donated by authors. Each student got an autographed copybook. Just awesome. Just awesome.
And speaking of that, Leash, when I contributed, as you can see, I went a little overboard, but you feel so good because you know that it's going to a good cause. So you feel good when you help out, and especially to our teachers. We had 2 amazing teachers on our last segment, the wonderful Miss LaDonna Jordan and China, the writer. I just love teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and they are always, there's always something that they may need because we never know where each child is in their educational journey, what they need, what they don't have, what they're not able to get, what's not being provided. So when we can help them, we help everybody because the children are our future. So that's a wonderful
Absolutely right.
thing. So we thank you. And we're just waiting for our next guest to come in. But yeah, I'm still sitting here nervously.
Don't be nervous, T. You are a really, really good editor. Very, very, very good editor. And it's funny because I always say I have the skill, but that is not my ministry. Like, I have the skill, yes, I can do it, but I have patience, but I don't have the patience that T got.
It's funny because Joy Lynn, she said, I'm going to drag it out of you because you're sitting on too much talent and too much information, too much wisdom for you not to share with the authors that need it. So she's dragging me she's literally dragging me. So I was on this session today and she actually called me out, Leash. Joy Lynn, she called me out. She has no hesitation with doing that.
No, ma'am. Not none.
So she said, well, you're going to get out of some of those nerves today. So I got called out today on the session. Oh, look at James. Thank you so much, James. We'll definitely talk. Wish me luck, James.
I love it. I love it. But that's what it's all about. You got to be able to give back at the same time as you get.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay, T, I'm going to step out into the back real quick.
All righty. Hey, it's just me and you guys. So what you guys got going on? Tomorrow's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And I know what I'll be doing tomorrow at 3:31 p.m. I am going to be having a huge sigh of relief. So the authors that are out there, tell me some of, thank you, James. Tell me some of the things that you expect from your editor. I know James is one of my clients, and Miss the wonderful Jonna B, she's one of my clients. But James, what is the best takeaway that you got from your editor? And you can share that. And also, LaDonna, share with us your journey, your LaDonna, she's moving. Share with us your experience with your editor. We always love hearing the different and the various interactions in this little thing called literature. So Share with us, LaDonna, how your editing experience went, because every editor is different. Just like every author is different. So share with us your experience. Or did you even have an editor? Some people like to self-edit. Some people like to give it to their auntie who's an English teacher. I wouldn't say that's the best route to take, but if that's the route that is taken, you may want to consider whether it is time to actually put that book out. Oh, thank you, James. So James says, you actually kept me focused on my vision. It was great. Thank you, James. The purpose of me as an editor is to bring the best of your pen out, to make sure you see the bigger picture of your vision. And James, you hit it on the nose. It is not my place to take the voice away from an editor. From an author. It is to enhance that voice, and I teach along the way. LaDonna says, I now get one of my ELA coworkers from the high school. Okay. ELA, I remember that class, ELA. Y'all remember that class in school? But it's important to get, to have your book as polished as possible when your reader gets it. That's just, you that affects your reviews, that affects your sales, and it really affects your library, because once someone finds a good book that you have written, they want to go back and find out everything that you've written, and if you've written it and it hasn't been properly edited, that could be the potential of losing customers, losing readers. So you always want to be sure that you put your best foot forward. She says, so now I need to get in contact with you. Anytime I'm here, LaDonna, I am here for you. I work with two great publishing houses. I work with Lissha and her publishing company. And I was actually taught by the great Victoria Christopher Murray. Now that is a powerful woman. She has taught me. I have been in so many of her boot camps, Lissha and I both. And she has banned a sister girl. She banned me from even going back into her class because she says, there is nothing else I can teach you. Now you go out. So that's what I have been doing for the last couple of years. I am an award-winning editor, as I had said previously. But always polish your thoughts as well as your product. Use Toni for sure. Oh, thank you, James. I appreciate James. We got to get him up in this live. Lissha and I, we're going to have a good time with Mr. Martin and come up in the chat.
I got to give him a date. Yep, he sent the email. I got to give him a date. But y'all, yes. So we're still waiting for Mr. Prophet to come in. But y'all know how we do. We're going to keep this party going. So our question to you guys is, how has COVID shaped your journey? How has COVID shaped your journey?
I can tell you off the bat how it has affected me, and this is leading right back into the editing. It had forced me to really feel that I can take this and make it mine. Mm-hmm. And I think tomorrow is a perfect example. Once I get through tomorrow, I think it will solidify it, because during COVID, everybody's like, well, what can I do? What else can I do? And I think that this is my niche. As my husband told me earlier, this is your niche, so embrace it. And that's what I'm doing. And I think I have to get out of my own way and get through tomorrow. And then I'll know. I'll know. So this is my niche. And I feel that during COVID, I was able to focus on it and really give it a lot of thought.
Absolutely. Absolutely. James says COVID has kept him from giving up and he's grinding.
Awesome. You can't get any better than that.
And it's true, because I think that most people who are in business, most people who are creative, it's forced you to literally move your feet. We had comedian talent on the other day, last week, and he said that he just was like, let me get some things going that he really was going to put on hold and kind of do here and there, and he just started going with it. He just started going with it. And so, and I think a lot of artists are doing that. They're learning how to just embrace it and step into it and make it theirs.
Absolutely. And there's going to be so many new entrepreneurs coming out of this COVID leash. We are seeing it every day, young, old, and in between. And I love the way they have embraced change, you know, because it's taking them out of their comfort zone. It's making them think outside their regular bubble. And I think we have a lot of great entrepreneurs coming out as a result of COVID-19 that had no intentions of even being an entrepreneur. So that's a great thing. Amen is right, James. So you're getting out of your own way to be a better person. And we've seen young kids. I saw on the news yesterday with Halloween coming up how this father created a chute. I don't know if anybody saw that he can actually put the candy in, goes into a chute. There's a sign at the bottom telling the kids where to put the bag, so they remain socially distanced. Who would have thought of something like that? You know, the ideas are endless. Share with us, have you done anything during this COVID-19? We've been in the house for like 6-7 months. What have you done to improve your brand, your talent? What have you done? Share with us. You know, I shared my niche of editing. Share with us what you have come to realize that you can do, or that you even need to do during this COVID-19 period. So please share with us. Drop it in our comment box. That would be a great thing. And we're going to put Lissha on the spot, you know, because if y'all have been following us, Lissha been on her electronic kick.
I heard my name.
Electronic kick.
What I do?
We want to know what you've done, what you've realized you can do during COVID. You know, sometime she definitely hasn't learned how to unplug.
No, I believe that I can do anything.
She does.
Anything that I want to do, I can do. Absolutely. And I have learned that since 2011, 2012. You know, I have learned that anything that I want to do, I absolutely can do. I've learned how to format. I've learned how to edit. I've learned how to do book trailers. I've learned how to do so many different things. And that's for anybody. Anything that you want to do, you can absolutely do. You know, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to help Mr. Prophet get in here. Hold on, y'all.
Okay. But James says he's been doing his own marketing. You know, everybody's taking it upon themselves to improve themselves. So
and this is the thing about the marketing. Because your promoter is just like a taxi cab. Their job is to bring people to party author. But you got to know how to pull those people too. You got to know that everybody is your audience, right down to the people sitting next to you on the train, right down to those people that are sitting next to you, standing in the line at Walmart. Mm-hmm. That is your audience. Right. You have to be able to learn the art of a good book pitch. Please do not just throw up the synopsis. You know, breathe your book. You know, don't breathe your book. Understand your book. You want to be able to, it's funny because I always tell authors, hit people with the hot spots first. And before you go into, well, you know, it's a story about, hit them with the hot spots. Hit them with the hot spots. Mm-hmm. Because that draws them in.
That's right.
And don't be afraid of you are a whole brand. You are a whole business. You are a walking billboard. You are absolutely responsible for your brand. So James, yes, understand the marketing of your book. Understand the business side of the brand, of the business. take writing courses, guys. They have some great master classes. They
Mm-hmm.
have some great. I know that Ian Joy gave a free writing. Was it a free writing course, beginner's writing course or something like a couple of weeks ago? Like, it's popping up. You know, yes, they cost money, but we all know that it's a pay-to-play society. Nothing is free.
That's right.
But you can absolutely learn. There are tons of authors that seasoned authors that actually have boot camps and writing workshops. You guys have to take advantage of those things. Sharpen your pen. Iron sharpens iron.
That's
So
right.
if you got somebody able to reach out to you and drop down and sharpen you, take that. They want to mentor you, take that. Ask questions. You know, authors are not, you know, they love questions. You know, they love to be able to help people. It's not all about sending an invoice all the time. They love to help people.
Right.
And some of them are very welcoming. They don't mind. They love to see new writers and new ideas flourishing. They love that because they want to see the industry grow.
Absolutely. And I love it. For me, I love learning. You know, I'm always looking to improve myself. You know, I feel like I'm a sponge sometimes, especially if it's something that I'm passionate about, you know, because in order to better my skills, I have to continue to learn. You know, you have to be like in sports, that athlete is coachable. Sometimes you just have to be learnable. You have to always want to be able to improve yourself. So that's one thing that I enjoy doing. Anytime I can get a class or something that I'm passionate about, I take it. You know, whether it's free, whether it costs or whatever it is, I'm going to take it because I know on the other end of it, it's going to better me. So that's a great thing. Speaking of COVID, have you guys taken any classes over these last 6-7 months? You know, there's so many, like we said, there's so many master classes out there. So we'd love to know, as far as your brand, what type of classes you've been able to take. James, we know you've been hustling. I see you on your social media. I love the people that you have holding your book. That's just one beautiful book. I told you when it came out, I just think it's beautiful. In addition to the story. James says, out here at 8:45 p.m. at the gas station selling books. Enjoy your night. Enjoy. Do your thing. James is always hustling. Always hustling. He has that book hustle down to a point. And he didn't sell one on Amazon. He sold over 3,000 copies since his book came out. And that's all from hustling, grinding, and marketing himself. So it can be done. You know, he did not he did not go through Amazon. He's hustling and grinding and doing it himself, not through Amazon.
He said he out here at 8:45 at the gas station selling his books. I know that's right. You better get that.
Absolutely.
And so we have our fabulous guest. He's coming into the chat room. I'm waiting for his picture to pop up. He is a writer. He is a producer. He is a director. So this kind of really goes along the lines because of what he does. It's interesting to learn how to stay relevant in the industry, how to learn how to monetize your pen and your skills.
Right. Absolutely. So he can come at it from different ways.
Hey, turn your camera on, Mr. Prophet. Turn your camera on.
There
There you are. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
We are good. So everybody really knows who you are. But for those who have not been blessed by your talent, tell everybody just a little bit about your journey and your work.
Okay, my name's my working name is Al Prophet. I'm from Detroit. My formal education, I have a master's in economics, but I'm self-taught in film production and I have a production company. I started off doing music. Wait, I'm trying to get their angle right. Okay, there we go. Started off doing music videos a long time ago in Detroit, and became very popular doing that. I moved on to documentaries, and of course, writing drives, storytelling of any sort, whether you're writing or you're doing documentaries or you're writing fiction books, nonfiction books. So it all comes down to writing, I guess. And so at this point, I've done about 12 or so or 15 full-length documentaries. I have a YouTube channel with about 350,000 subscribers. And my most recent series is called American Dope, and it's about the U.S. government's role in the global drug trade beginning before World War II. And
Man, I saw that. I was like, what?
And it's not conspiracy theory. It's all from mainstream sources, federal government records, New York Times, and the people that lived it themselves. And pretty disturbing things you uncover, because we all have had the experience of, watching the news and you see, the government, something you don't like happened that the government did. But when you sit and you look at newspaper articles and documentaries and congressional hearings over many decades, and you see the same things with the same verbiage and the same little systems playing out time and again in different times and places, you realize, this isn't just a bad apple here and there or a mistake or a bad decision. It's, policy choices that go on over and over again.
Absolutely. And I think that we learn so much, but we get it in droplets. We see a lot of things in movies and we think, that's the movie, and I think it wasn't until actually, I'm going to say before, we had got Ricky Ross on here after he got home. And just to hear his story and really know, listen, you have to think about the fact that you didn't bring it in here. How is it getting here? If you think about American Gangster, Frank Lucas talking about how he got it over. So regardless if we know it's true or not, these things are, even if it's a fairy tale, it's some truth to it. It came from somewhere.
Well, the Freeway Rick Ross is interesting. So the 4th episode of my series, which I'll probably release towards the end of the year, is called Cocaine Condor.
I saw that.
And the Condor comes from the title, or the Condor in the title comes from, there was a U.S. government, sort of more of a policy than a program, called Operation Condor. And it went on from probably, the mid-'60s up through maybe the fall of Manuel Noriega. And it was where the U.S. government would support right-wing governments in Central and South America, whose governments were amenable primarily to U.S. business interests. So you had, if you were willing to support policies that maintain U.S. business interests in Central and South America, you sort of could do anything. And for a brief period of time, about 1982 to 1984, when Reagan was trying to send money to the Contras, who really were just guys in Nicaragua who wanted to take power for their own reasons,
right.
Congress wouldn't fund them. So for those 2 years, if you were a drug trafficking organization, primarily cocaine in Central and South America, and you were tied in with certain people, you kind of got a get out of jail free card. And that's when you see the price of cocaine. So, we talk about the crack cocaine epidemic. Well, what you really had was an epidemic of extremely cheap and endlessly plentiful cocaine, which made, people will tell you that in 1980, there was no such thing as anything less than $100 worth of cocaine. There was no nickel of cocaine.
Right.
But by 1986, you could go to a liquor store in Detroit or LA and some guys hanging out selling $3 dosage units of cocaine. Well, that's what the real problem was. And at the top of the food chain, there's only so many pilots who are going to fly in 1,000 kilos, from South America and drop them in the swamp in Florida. It's a very small group of people. And of course, Manuel Noriega was at the center of it all, who was a paid CIA asset. And I won't get too much into that, but I start off Cocaine Condor with this interesting factoid. In the weeks after the Berlin Wall fell, the price of cocaine in the United States temporarily tripled. Well, how are those two things related? Well, Noriega was being paid to spy on Fidel Castro and to act as a bulwark against communism in Central and South America. Well, when the Soviet Union fell, e.g. the Berlin Wall coming down, suddenly communism is no longer a threat in Central and South America. Noriega ceases to be protected. We invade the country, and Panama, which was the primary staging grounds for cocaine and the center for money laundering for the cocaine cartels, is invaded, and the whole cocaine business is temporarily disrupted.
See, listen. Now, my question is, because you are thoroughly voiced in knowing the history of just everything. I want to go back. We always talk about a go moment here on Let's Chat. And a go moment is when thought and execution come together. Most of the time, we're really mindful about how we speak to other people, how we treat other people. But when it comes to ourselves, we have so many excuses on why we can't do something. I think I saw a video where it says you did your first video with just your phone. You know, but so many people have excuses. Well, I need this and I need that to go on. What was your go moment like when you decided to say, I'm going to do this?
So I was finishing up my master's in economics, and I'd always wanted to make films, but like going to film school seemed kind of stupid. So, you know, and I came to I knew this all along, but then when I really knew it, you know, either I due to my past tangencies with the criminal justice system, I wasn't going to be able to get a job in finance, even though having a master's in economics would normally get you a high-paying job. So either I was going to have to stay in academia, and I didn't want to really do that. And as a practice, I started making my first documentary, which is called Murder City, which is just the history of crime in Detroit. And it was meant as practice. Like, I knew I didn't know what I was doing. Audio had problems, all these things. But as we finished it, due to the interviews we had done, and we started to realize, like, hey, this is kind of powerful. Let's just put it out. And despite all its technical flaws, because the story and the people I interviewed were tremendous on camera, and I did a good job and all that stuff, and it was great subject matter, tremendous response from people in Detroit, and ended up the whole Sunday entertainment section of the Detroit paper, excuse me, I was on the front page. There was an article about the movie. There was an article about me. It became like a big thing. And I realized, you know, if what you're doing is interesting and you have something new and unique to say, and you put in the hard work and aren't afraid of, you know, people nitpicking or judging you or this or that, and just do it, and what you're doing really is interesting and important, you will get the positive feedback. And don't get, if you're doing it for vanity, right? Do I look perfect? Like, I have 600 videos on YouTube. There's times when my hair isn't combed perfectly. I didn't shave. Well, you know, as I'm getting bigger now, at this point, I need to maybe worry about that more. But when you're coming up, like, if it's a question between, well, oh, you don't look your best, and either you're going to do it or not do it. Well, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for vanity? I mean, if you want to if you want to take pretty glamour pictures, then go do that. Don't do this, you know?
Absolutely.
It's about the content. It's about the work, and not your personal vanity. But a lot of people in entertainment, you know, as a raw umbrella term of people in the creative arts, have come to realize, especially being out here in LA, they don't really want to sing or write a movie or make a documentary or be a writer. They want to be rich and famous. They want someone to tell them they're pretty or they're talented or you're so great. And if that's your motivation, you know, just hang around your grandmother's living room and she'll tell you you're pretty and you're great. Don't go out in the real world.
But that's true. You know, so many people, they do things because they need people to validate them. You know, they need people to be certain things to them so that they can feel a certain way. And really, you're looking for people to do things that you need to do for yourself. That's why you keep looking and looking and looking. So you have been able to get into so many different doors. You have had interviews with so many different people that a lot of people probably would never get an interview with. What is that process like for you?
Well, it started, I mean, I'm from the middle of Detroit, and my first stuff, some of the people were people that I had personal connections to through, like, they were my friend's father, uncle, or something.
Yeah.
And then, so you do stuff with them, with these people who normally wouldn't talk, and it comes out really good. Like, I mean, people know this is important history. It needs to be told, but it's so playing with fire in so many different ways. But because it came out good and there was never any problems, and everyone was like, okay, we support what you're doing, just a higher and higher level of person usually would contact me. And then I just always, made sure I did a good job. And I just was always myself. I didn't really have a strategy until later. And I realized, like, well, what is it about me that's making this work? And then I said, okay, let me make sure and continue to do this. But ultimately, it's just whoever you have access to, whatever it is you're doing, whoever you do have access to that's one notch above you on the food chain, or who's slightly important that you can actually get to, even if you don't think, that's high enough for you or whatever. Again, that goes back to vanity. Do something with them and do a good job. And then the next layer of people will be willing to interact with you. And really at this point, I mean, I almost never reach out to people. I let people reach out to me. And that's what that way is always organic. And it's people that want to do stuff. And, I've had calls from just unbelievable people and been called to come to just, mind-boggling places and meet people and be told things that are like, wow. And that's not me seeking it out.
That's
It's me, being brought to it or organically. So it really just comes down to do whatever you're doing. If it seems small, do the best job.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing music videos and guys were giving me $200 and I needed the $200, I made sure I did a $300 job. And when somebody gave me $1,000, I did a $1,500 job. And always do your best.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you don't feel like doing your best, don't do it. Don't be afraid to not do something. It's okay to pass on things or say I'm not interested or don't respond. You don't have to respond to everybody. You don't have to do everything. I mean, I'm constantly inundated with, hey, you should do this or that. I don't have to do anything. I do what I want to do. But when I choose to do something, I make sure I do the best job that I can, and arm yourself with knowledge and information, because when people are opening up to you, especially in like an interview thing, or you're talking about sensitive topics and people's personal lives or big historical things that are important to different groups of people, you better make sure you're never going to be perfect, but you better make sure everybody feels like at least, hey, he's trying to do the best job he can, and he did a lot of work and he knows a lot of things and he's thinking about it, and you're not just going through the motions, because people will turn off and turn on you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I want to ask you, I'm sorry, Lissha, I don't know if you spoke on it when I stepped out of the chat room, but watching your YouTube and all the content of it, the question that resonated with me was, have you ever had to uncover the governmental systemic part in the drug underworld? I mean,
my whole last series, American Dope, is about that.
Yeah.
There's 3 episodes: Cold War, Heroin, Heat, White Powder, Black Power, Acid Dreams. The thing is, I don't consider myself a journalist. I'm more of a social historian, because none of it has to be uncovered. It's all known. I just kind of piece it together and make it kind of entertaining. And I'm really good at I can take huge amounts of information and sift through them, pull out relevant threads that I don't want to say regular person as if not sophisticated, but people that have a job and a life. Like, this is what
You
I
know how
do.
to put that spin on it.
Right. Well,
And
not
that's
spin.
just it.
Not a spin. Don't use the word spin. I don't like
Okay.
to use the word
Okay.
spin.
Not the
But
one.
yeah,
Not spin. Okay.
but yeah, so none of it's me uncovering. It's all there. That's kind of the scary thing, that like it hides in
It's
plain sight. You don't have to hide the truth. It's all there. It's
right.
just like nobody does, I don't know. Maybe
I think
because
it's the
it's
way you
scattered
tell
in
it.
time.
It's
Yeah.
the way you tell it
It's a
and the way you
gift.
put it all
It's
together.
an absolute
It's
gift.
like, okay, it makes you think, and it makes you sometimes think about all the things you've seen on TV that are being disputed. You know,
That
it's the way
seems
it's the
scattered and like, oh, well, this is just one bad thing here and there. And then
right,
I try to connect the dots. You can say, okay, well, this happened in 1972. So then in
right.
1974, and then, so that's why in 1982. And now here we are, 2020. And that's why this is. And you say, oh,
Mhm.
aha.
Right.
And I make sure I follow very strict logical causation. That was my concentration in my I had a couple PhD level microeconomics classes that was just pure logic. So I
Mhm.
make sure these facts are connected by pure logic, because that's how they discredit you and call it a conspiracy theory.
Right.
When
Mhm.
they cut one little details off and they say, oh,
Right.
well, if he was, so I try to be very, 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 very careful with that stuff. But frankly, it's not that hard, because like I said, you can just go through the New York Times, the congressional hearings. You can interview DEA agents. You don't have to get weirdos to tell you this stuff. It's federal employees and the federal
Mhm.
record and major publications that everybody accepts as, journalism.
Mhm.
It's all right there.
Absolutely. And I think the best part about your documentary and your series is that you give both sides. You give the human side, and then you give what happened. But you never just say, well, this was a guy that da 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 da. You always give the human side to whatever that person is. You let us know, like you did the one about the Davis brothers. And it's funny because we have his daughter on the show. And
Nina,
and the way she talked about him, and the pride that she felt about him, it was like I saw that when I saw your documentary, because you showed their human side. You didn't just show the criminal activity, and I think
Right.
that's the best part about your documentaries, because you always kind of show a little bit about both sides, just them as people.
well, these guys that are at the top of the criminal food chain are really like Shakespearean characters. I mean, that's not to say they're good or bad, but they're very big people, right? I mean, maybe they're bad people, but they're very intelligent. They're very driven. They're
Very smart,
very focused, and frankly,
innovative.
innovative. All of that, and they're creatures of, like we all are, of the time and place that we inhabit. And I try to make you think about, well, if you don't like them, and it's okay to not like them, but you then have to look at yourself, or you have to look at society and say, well, they were allowed to exist, and create society. Needed them as much as they created
That's right.
society, right? And whatever you don't like about them is a reflection of all of us. So if a guy can sell $1 million worth of drugs a day, well, that means 1 million regular people were getting off work, or people were getting off work and buying $1 million worth of drugs every day, or whatever I may happen to be talking about.
Right, and it's funny because my grandfather, he came up in the bottoms, and he would get off of work. He worked at Chrysler. He would get off of work and he would go gamble, and it was like what they did.
That was just part of it. Yeah, it was.
Just
And
part
then,
of what
and
they
then
did.
gambling became the state lottery. I mean, that's what the schools are. So things that were considered the lifeblood of organized crime, the numbers, well, it became the state lottery. Look at marijuana now, alcohol. So I don't know if they're good or bad, but a lot of things that were, a lot of law enforcement attention went to, a lot of people were put in prison and killed about, are now legal. I served a year for marijuana. Now marijuana is recreational.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Medicinal.
Now, but you do so much more in your career, you're a producer, but you just opened up your own studio. Tell us about that.
So, we have some guys I know from Detroit, a rapper I used to work with, and then a producer who he did stuff for 50 Cent, like a big platinum producer. They're both from Detroit too. And one of them scoped out a building here in San Bernardino, which I call jokingly the Detroit of California, just because it's kind of economically depressed. But we were able to get a 14,000 square foot building, which you couldn't touch in LA for any amount of money. And I'm building like a mini sound stage in there. We have a few recording studios. It's a full choreography room, podcast room. So we're just building it and getting it going. And anyone that's in California, come out and make use of it, because sound stages are really what studios are about. That, if you go to Universal Studios tour in Hollywood, mainly what you're going to do, you're going to ride on this back lot, and they point at these huge things that look like airplane hangars, and those are the sound stages. And you go in there, and they have living rooms and streetscapes and jail cells and hospital rooms and balconies, and all the Hollywood movies are shot on those, and talk shows and everything. So yeah, that's a project I'm working on now as well.
Absolutely. Now you inspire so many people to just be great, do great, and move intentionally. But who has inspired you along the way?
Well, my grandmother, who grew up in Black Bottom too, and that's probably my biggest inspiration, I guess. And just a lot of small inspirations of just, Detroit, I guess, in general. I mean, just to keep along trucking and just live in Detroit for a lot of people is hard. I mean, I look back on the teachers that we had. If I had to, they stuck me in front of a 8th grade class in Detroit, I'd have a panic attack, because I remember being in them. I mean, we would fight the teacher. I mean, it was bad. But yeah, I would say my grandmother and Detroit in general.
Absolutely.
That's your biggest inspiration. Now, who has been your biggest supporter and supporting you in everything you do?
Detroit, once again.
Oh, okay.
Well, my father, my grandmother, but the whole city of Detroit. I mean, it's makes me feel good. I'll be at random places somewhere, and there'll be some guys in the shadows in the car, and they're like, "Hey, aren't you Al Prophet?" I'm like, "Yeah," and all right, we're gonna buy you some drinks. Hey, we got you. And we're gonna, someone's always taking care of me and looking out for me in Detroit. And then also, you asked earlier about how some of these people that are willing to be interviewed by me will often, they got to check on me. And Detroit is the best, for the streets. Detroit is the Harvard of the street. So if they can call back to Detroit and get a good report, then you're in good pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. Now, going back to the beginning of your career to now, how have you grown just as a creative, and how have you grown as a man?
Let's see. So creatively, well, from the beginning, because I didn't have any money, and back, 12, 15 years ago, you couldn't buy $1,000 camera and make something of decent quality. So I learned, not that I'm great at making music or graphics or any of these things, but I'm okay at all of it. So I have a full skill set of nobody can slow me down from making something. I can write it, research it, shoot it, edit it, fix the audio, make music, do the bells and whistles. I know how to market it, promote it, advertise it, I used to have to put it in the store, the whole nine. So I learned a whole range of skills in that terms. And then as a person, well, you learn how to, I had been doing this all my life, how to deal with different kind of people. That's how I was able to do this. But even more so, in the last 2 years, as I've been trying to grow the business and work with other people as employees or partners, that's been quite learning how to manage, especially creative people. That's been quite quite a challenge and quite an experience, you know. But yeah, I guess understanding and being empathetic, and I use the term empathetic. Not usually people use that as like, oh, I, you know, understand them and feel sorry for them. I just mean putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Their shoes could be bad shoes.
That's
Like,
right.
you got to be able to know how to put yourself in the bad person's shoes and look at the situation from like a predatory or a drug addict or a desperate woman or a this or that, so you can kind of understand how they're gonna move, so you can place them on the chessboard. Because now people trust me. If I say, hey, come be over here, well, they trust me not to have someone who might endanger them.
That's
For
right.
example, here in LA, I have to know a certain amount about what's going on in gang world, because I can't have one young guy that I might meet and, oh, Al Prophet, I want to talk to you and I'm helping him do something. I can't invite him over my apartment if the wrong other people are there.
Yeah.
So that's a responsibility, but a lot of people don't take on that responsibility or even realize they have it. When people start to trust you, then you have to make sure you're surveying the whole landscape as much as possible and foresee any problems. It's not all fun and games of like, oh, everyone likes me, let me invite everyone over. You got to really know what's going on, or
Absolutely.
else someone can get hurt because of you.
Absolutely.
In the case of what I'm doing, you know.
And I've learned that too. You have to kind of protect your Rolodex. You have to protect those that are in your Rolodex, you know, that you have access to that maybe the average person does not have access to.
Or just anybody, even your fans, or just
That's
people
right.
that come in, you know, around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like with the people, you know, what I'm doing, just being in Hollywood is predatory, and then the type of people I interact with, I mean, it's, you know, you
Stressful
gotta watch who's
times.
talking to who. You know, I turn my back, and two guys who met each other through me might be suddenly embroil each other in a drug conspiracy. I gotta watch all kind of things that the average person isn't aware of, but I have to be.
So, how have you grown as a man throughout your journey?
Well, that's quite a good question. I don't know. I guess I think taking responsibility, like I just said, for when people trust you, whether it's in a professional setting or whatever. Like, for example, if you're going to be, I see this move towards entrepreneurialism. Everyone's on
Mhm.
social media, and they use the word boss, because really that just means they don't want to be told what to do. That's not the same thing as being an entrepreneur. In fact, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a quote unquote boss, you have as much responsibility or
Oh yeah,
more to the employees
you gotta pay
as
people.
they do to you. You can't just,
Mhm.
oh, I don't feel like running a business this week. I mean, their bills are dependent on you.
Mhm.
So you realize, you know, how much responsibility you have. And then when you realize people are looking to you for certain things, they expect to learn something for you, or you to put them in position, or you to, you know, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
you know, you have to be aware of that. And they may not be verbalizing that to you, because a lot of what I do isn't really per se a paycheck. I mean, some of it is, but it might be other things. And you can't just have the blinders on. If you got to you got to wake up in the morning thinking about others. It's like having a family.
That's right.
That's right. Absolutely. You know, Al, during these last 6 months, during COVID-19, a lot of us have had time to self-reflect on our lives, on what it is that we want to do, on our journey. How have you self-reflected, and do you feel you're going to come out of COVID-19 different than when you came into it?
Well, anybody that, you know, any thinking person that doesn't come out of this different, you know, and we all have our different analysis of the
Right.
various things that are going on, you know, they're not very self-reflective, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think human relationships,
Right.
not that, you know, I mean, I've always been focused on that, but like, you know, you really, what do you miss? Right? Do you miss going to the mall, or do you miss being around, you know, people, human beings? Like, that's what you really miss.
Right.
I mean, everyone still had a steady influx of Amazon packages coming, but that doesn't
Right. Amazon been,
fulfill what
yeah.
That
Comes
doesn't
up and
fulfill
making
what you're
money.
missing from socializing with people, you know?
Absolutely. And business wise, how has your business pivot placed you in a different position to expand your brand?
Well, I mean, this speeded up the collapse of the traditional media, you know, like the who's watching CBS and all that stuff now. So my minutes viewed and everybody's minutes viewed on streaming platforms, you know, up because people are home, but people are realizing why watch CBS or Showtime, which might show you something you sort of want to watch, but not precisely. When now on YouTube and Facebook video and all these other micro platforms, you can watch exactly what you want, right?
That's right.
You don't just want to watch a cooking show. You want to watch, you know, this particular kind of cooking show done by
Mm-hmm.
this particular kind of person, right? You don't just want to watch, you know, something about Detroit, you want to watch the type of stuff I make or whatever. So this actually has been great for content creators like me. And it's speeded up phenomenon that were already occurring and that have been beneficial to me. So for you guys and your viewers, anybody that's creating their own intellectual property, I mean, this is a real golden age. Facebook is now monetizing their video. So I'm uploading all my stuff on there. They're inserting commercials, getting more money. Instagram's going to do it in 2021. But, you know, think about what you can do that's unique. I mean, rehashing other people's content, gossiping, passing along false information that you heard from somebody else. You know, people support me because they see I do the hard work, whether they agree with it or not. Like, okay, that guy got a lot of information. He goes to uncomfortable places. He deals with people other people wouldn't deal with, and they can respect that. But if you're just sitting in a room, you're going to repeat what somebody else said, you're not going to get any traction. But if you can, you know, find something unique to talk about and put the hard work or to write or talk about or make content about, this is an age you don't need anybody. You can be very poor in any nook and cranny and get the cheapest cell phone and Amazon and YouTube and Instagram. They don't know what gender you are, what race you are, where you're at. They don't care. And you can start making some money and getting yourself some economic empowerment. And money certainly isn't the cure to all the ills, but not having any money sure does make you sick. So, you know, for people that, you know, have and had limited economic, you know, returning citizens, aka people getting out of prison who can't get a job. Like, tell your story. I'm not saying you're gonna get rich. You might not be out profit, but like,
You
it ain't
create
hard
your
to
own
replace
lane.
a $300 a week job. You
Mhm.
don't have to be much on the internet to make more than what they're gonna pay you moving boxes around down at the Amazon warehouse till they fire you when they get the robots finished.
Absolutely. We always talk about that. You know, your lane is created and paved just for you. It's no traffic, it's no movement. The only time you got traffic is when you go into a lane that you don't know. You go into a lane that is not your own. Then you have a lot of extra stuff going on. But when something is paid for you, you're building, things are falling in your lap and they're falling in line because that's how it should be happening. It's so funny because just listening to you talk, that's that Detroit grind hustle, you know, that you see in every Detroiter. You know, you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be. You
Oh yeah,
create
there's no
your
easy
mind.
money in Detroit. Yeah, listen, even selling drugs and robbing people isn't easy in Detroit. Whatever you're gonna do there, you're gonna have to really do it. So, you know, a lot of people give up. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, even now, like, you know, Detroit people I deal with. I mean, that's a lot of my inner circle and inner sanctum, and those that can make it out are a special breed. So for sure.
Absolutely. We always do something fun here on Let's Chat. So T is going to give
This
you
is
a
just a
fun.
cigar. This isn't marijuana.
He is going to give you a fun question. We always like to be able to show all sides of our guests. For those that may not have been able to experience you. They may not have been able to experience your brand, but they're experiencing your personality, which is part of the packaging of your brand. So she's going to give you a fun question.
Okay.
I know what it is. It's not part of that's not my ministry.
All right.
Thanks so much for coming on, Al. We really appreciate you sharing
Thank you.
all that you share with us. But, listening to you and seeing what you do and what you give to us, if you had one special superpower, it could be anything, what would it be and why? And why did you choose that?
A special superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can see something with you being unique.
If I could, now I've never seen this in a superhero.
Okay.
If I could not get tired for long periods of time, like mentally, right? Like
Right.
concentrate for real, for days, 10 days, 24 hours, 240 hours of intense concentration. That would be my superpower.
Wow. I think
Absolutely.
other people will sign up for that.
I got one for you. We're going to go with your writing side. So if you could write an anthology and you could have 3 authors in that book, who would it be and why?
Well, I could probably say a lot of people, so I'll say who's off the top of my head.
Okay.
W.G. Sebald, who you might not have heard of. He died in a car accident in the early 2000s. He was German, but he was an English professor in England, and he wrote books. They don't really have a plot. They're just like a guy kind of Europe, and he's just a great, great, great writer. James Baldwin, tremendous writer, and I don't know who my third would be. There would be, I don't know. I'm gonna go with those 2 strong ones right now.
Absolutely.
If you read James Baldwin and W.G. Sebald, you'll be on the right track.
I love it. I love it. We so appreciate you coming to share your time and your energy with us here in the chat room. We know you are busy. You are welcome back anytime. Make sure you tag us when Condor is out so that we can share that content and
Well,
share.
I put up stuff constantly, so.
You do, and I share it. Yeah, because you always have great content. I do share that. But make sure you tag us so that we can get that moving and get people watching it. Because your documentaries are awesome. I love the way you just create, but you find a way to find both sides in everything. And so that's great to be able to get 2 different perspectives.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks again for joining us.
Have a great night, you guys. Bye.
You too.
Bye.
It was great having him on. That was a great conversation. I love smart people.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell, like, he thinks 24 hours a day.
Even when he's sleeping, right?
Yeah, even when he's sleeping, he's thinking 24 hours a day. So you can absolutely tell that. Make sure y'all check out his YouTube. He is fabulous. He did a documentary, Murder City, Detroit, 100 Years of Crime and Violence. He's done things on some of any and everybody you can think of. So make sure you guys check out Al Prophet's YouTube page. He's gonna, as he said, bring everything over to Facebook. Check that out. Check out his new documentary that's gonna be dropping as well. We appreciate you guys coming to kick with us here in the chat room. We will see you guys. My calendar is way over there. I don't know if we're going to see you guys next week. I think we have one show next week. I have to see. But stay tuned, guys. Yes. It's my fault because I had made Toni September so busy. Listen, I made her we had a show every day in the month of September, and Toni was like, "Listen, I'm gonna be on here until the snow comes, ain't I? It's no summertime. I ain't gonna be able to go outside. Okay."
Y'all see, I'm the same complexion we started.
Listen, I got her in here on Saturdays. I had her in here on Sundays. She was like, "Listen."
On Mondays.
Look, listen.
Like.
So I appreciate T, you know, I really do, because any direction I go in, I'm always doing something. There's no telling what I'm doing, whether it's intriguing pen stuff, whether it's let's chat stuff. T, you know, has always rolled with me, and I appreciate her for that, because literally I drag her around.
I'm here for you, girl. I'm here for you.
But she's blossoming, y'all. Just think, when I first met Toni to now, y'all just don't know. She is blossoming, and she's dope in real life. She absolutely is dope in real life, and I'm so proud of you, T.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys soon. Make sure y'all check out our archives. Check out our archives on our Facebook page. Check out our archives on YouTube. Head over to Ebony TV. Watch the replays of our shows. Those replays on Ebony TV also include commercials. Slot. So if you want a commercial slot, send your request to thechatradioshow@gmail.com. If you want to do radio is always free. Make sure you send your request to thechatradioshow@gmail.com. If you want to be on Let's Chat Live, let's do it. Let's Chat Live is a fee. But send your request to thechatradioshow@gmail.com. We will send you the information in order to just get it cracking up in here.
And we'd love to have you. Join the madness of me and Lissha here on Let's Chat.
Absolutely. So it's 9:25, y'all. We have to get it in with Mr. Prophet. We're always gone by now. We appreciate you guys rocking with us, and we will see you guys soon. Have a great night.
Be safe.